Hey everybody, Matty here with Altcoin Buzz. Happy weekend. Hope you're having a great Saturday. Today we're discussing a new daily record for Bakkt Bitcoin futures contracts which have been traded. We're also looking on altcoinbuzz.io at the groundbreaking RippleNet home, which is finally here. Ethereum is also offering a hard fork in the form of Istanbul. That is expected very soon. Electroneum is in the news. Airtime top-up feature is now available in Africa. And John McAfee still believes in Bitcoin. Just in case you didn't, get some inspiration from good old John. We'll let you know what he has to say. But let's begin firstly with a snapshot of the market. We are on coinmarketcap.com, who remind you of the capital, which is happening very soon. Don't forget about that. But market cap today is at $240 billion. Bitcoin down a little bit, 1.5%, 8,864. Looks like we did break through that $9,000 floor, which was resistance. We'll have to see what happens over the course of this weekend and over the next few days as well. But dominance at the time of this recording at 66.4%. In yesterday's video, we talked about all the major behind-the-scenes institutional metrics and some of the hopefully leading indicators that will one day manifest in the form of a more healthy, robust market. This is one of them, at least in my opinion. Make sure you're following at Bakkt with 2Ks on Twitter. But today, we set a new daily record of 1,756 Bakkt Bitcoin futures contracts traded. And by comparison, that's upwards of 50% higher than the previous records that have been set. So there's a definite trend and a definite trajectory that we're seeing. For more of those metrics and more of that information, go back, check out yesterday's video on institutional investment. In fact, we've been talking about this over the last few days, but this is good to see out of Bakkt for this particular Saturday in November. I'm impressed. In other news here, altcoinbuzz.io, groundbreaking RippleNet home is here. Article by Natalia. RippleNet home for customer interaction is available. If you've not heard of RippleNet home, it's going to allow companies to receive real-time information about their payment flows and performance. RippleNet home presentation took place at the Swell conference on the 7th of November, just a couple of days ago, and the company says it will work like a mini fintech social network. Quote, RippleNet Home will act as a hub where RippleNet members will be able to connect and partner with each other, analyze corridors, and access data analytics on their own transaction, according to a particular tweet that was issued on the 7th of November. It's a platform that you can use to assess market size and instantly find the most suitable partners for the growth of a given company's business. And together, RippleNet members can enjoy low fees and instant settlement through the Ripple On-Demand Liquidity Service, the ODL. RippleNet right now has more than 300 customers. Many of them are using ODL to conduct international settlements using XRP. ODL first launched in Mexico and the Philippines, and then extended to Australia and Brazil. And here's a quote by Brad Garlinghouse, the CEO of Ripple. This year has been our strongest for Ripple yet. In 2019, we've seen continued momentum with customers, growth of RippleNet, and adoption of on-demand liquidity. In just a year since we launched ODL, we are already making an impact on the bottom line for our customers. We're excited to continue this momentum into the next year and for the expansion of ODL into new markets. So that's good news for Ripple. And now we have another OG in the news today in the form of Ethereum. Their Istanbul hard fork is expected soon. Article here by David. Finally, the fork is just about almost here. Ethereum's team lead and core developer Peter Szlagyi took to Twitter confirming December 4th as the new date for the upcoming Istanbul hard fork. So mark your calendars, December 4th, just under a month away. The hard fork already experienced delays about 3 times. However, Ethereum's Peter Szlagyi, that's a tough one, finally announced the new release date to be the 4th of December 2019. It's going to occur at block 9,069,000, and accordingly, Szlagyi provided Geth mainnet node operators the link to the new maintenance release. The new release begins the hard fork's initialization. So Ethereum's mainnet Istanbul hard fork started earlier this year, actually back in May of 2019. And back then, you had a couple of individuals, Felix and Peter, who carried out the presentation of Ethereum Improvement Proposal, EIP 2124, and that proposal focused on a mechanism for users to identify which node-based software of a computer server in the Ethereum network's running. The whole process eventually turned into a major system-wide upgrade, which mainly focused on data storage on the network and mining algorithms, and accordingly, the upgrade increases the computation costs. However, and importantly, it'll protect the system from potential denial of service or DOS attacks. You can find out more, as per David includes here in this link, about the Ethereum network by clicking right here. Electroneum today also in the news on altcoinbuzz.io. Their Airtime top-up feature is now available in Africa. This article by Rachel. Mobile-based blockchain payment platform Ethereum has launched its Airtime top-up feature in the continent of Africa. This is really impressive because the announcement represents a partnership that's powered by the top mobile operators across Uganda, Nigeria, and Tanzania. And this is all coming to us by way of a blog post by Electroneum. The partnership will provide total coverage for both airtime and data for its subscribers in Africa. Here's the original post itself. As you can see, we're reaching new heights. Electroneum launches ETN mobile top-up across 15 mobile operators in those 3 countries that I just mentioned. Partnering with third-party airtime and data providers, Electroneum has launched ETN Mobile Top-Up, which provides nearly 100% coverage of subscribers in the African regions. And in terms of the impact, here's how Electroneum summarized it in a tweet. More than 300 million people in Africa can now top up with all major operators in Nigeria, Tanzania, and Uganda. Mobile top-ups are just the start of accessing a global digital economy. And they're actually partnering with 15 of Africa's biggest network providers. They include Africell, Airtel, MTN, and Telecom in Uganda, 9 Mobile, Airtel, Glow, and MTN in Nigeria. In Tanzania, Airtel, Halotel, Smart, TTCL, Tigo, Vodacom, and Zantel. Sure are a lot of them out there in those markets. We've talked about it before. Electroneum's goal and their focus is mass adoption. And here's a quote from their CEO, Richard Ells. "We are pleased to announce the launch in these 3 African nations where we see a clear opportunity to enable Electroneum users to top up mobile airtime through a third-party provider of the major mobile network operators." You guys know my philosophy by now. I'm a very free market kind of guy, at least economically speaking, and competition is always a good thing. Competition drives down the price in that supply-demand curve because all of a sudden you have to compete against the next best offer. And that forces people to basically fine-tune their services, to sharpen whatever, maybe their products, for example, their manufacturing. In this case, it's a telecom service. Competition breeds superior options for the consumer. That is always how it plays out. And this is definitely a market with a lot of potential. As noted here, there are 25 million mobile subscribers in Uganda, 198.4 million in Nigeria, and over 40 million in Tanzania. The 3 countries together have a total population of just over 300 million. Now, you may be asking why Africa is important to Electroneum. Well, as far as that company's mission, Electroneum that is, and their mandate, Africa really represents a lot of potential. And as is described here in the article, untapped resources. Of course, their primary goal, as has been stated previously, is to help wipe out financial exclusion through the use of mobile apps and smartphones. What does that term mean, financial exclusion? Well, we're talking about the availability and access to banks. So these nations that we've discussed, these 3 African nations, have a very high percentage of unbanked citizens. And according to World Bank statistics, 60% of adults in Nigeria do not have a bank account, despite the fact that it's a nation that's growing and developing quite commendably. Unbanked adults in Uganda and Tanzania are actually even higher at approximately 77 and 81% respectively. If you don't know quite as much about Electroneum's mandate and their mission, you can read more about it here, but this is what they're all about. They're about giving people options, and especially banking indirectly through their app, through smartphones, through technologies that are more ubiquitous than the banking institutions and services themselves, giving them the options to include them and enrich their financial circumstances. So check out the rest of the article here. Leave an article comment for Rachel. Let us know your thoughts about the issue, especially if you're an Altcoin Buzz member from Uganda, Nigeria, or Tanzania. And finally for today on altcoinbuzz.io, John McAfee still believes in Bitcoin, as if there were any doubt. Article here by Natalia. McAfee boldly predicts a sky-high price of Bitcoin. Whatever happened to John McAfee's presidential bid? Is he not supposed to be a presidential candidate for the year 2020? I believe on the Libertarian ticket. Haven't really heard much about that, so perhaps I'm uninformed, but if you have some updates that you'd like to share with us, let us know about that in the comments below. However, politics aside, aside, the outspoken creator of antivirus software John McAfee has reconfirmed his position to Information Age recently. Quote, "It's pure numbers. There's only 21 million Bitcoin that will ever be mined. 18 million have already been mined, and the 3 million remaining will take a dozen years to be mined." I think a little bit more than that, actually. "We've already lost 7 million, so that leaves only 14 million, he said. And he's also said similar things in interviews with Forbes. This time, McAfee said, quote, "If Bitcoin gets to be about 5% of world financial transactions, which you all know it will when Bitcoin would be worth 10 million per coin based on those numbers." Originally, John McAfee provided a Bitcoin price prediction of $500,000 per Bitcoin, but that has jumped more recently to $1 million, which he says it will reach by the end of 2020. There are obviously a lot of different opinions on the matter. Actually, some out there in the space are much more bullish than McAfee, if you can believe it. But if you'd like to know whether John's opinions and his position have any support, check out the rest of Natalia's article here. Let us know what you think about John. I personally, although he's a little bit eccentric and a little bit weird, let's be honest, I like having a guy like him in the space. He's a good cheerleader for what it is we're trying to do, and he knows how to get attention, clearly. But that about wraps it up for today, everybody. Do be sure you are following us on all the regular social media channels and keep checking back into altcoinbuzz.io for all the latest. Go ahead, like, subscribe, share, hit the bell to receive notifications if you enjoyed today's video. Best of luck if you invest on this Saturday, if you choose to do so, but have a great weekend, everybody. And as always, we hope to see you again soon in our next video. Take care.